Okay, Joel, while we all complain about our weather in South Dakota, of course, the golf folks as smart as ever, starting the year in Hawaii as they always do, and nobody's getting off to a better start than Dustin Johnson. 8-shot win at the Tournament of Champions in Kapalua, his 17th overall win. And it's not just that he won. Some of the shots that he made were, I don't know, superhuman. Is that a good way of putting it?
Yeah, otherworldly, superhuman, Superman, I don't know, whatever you want to say, but my goodness, he's always been a long driver. He's always been one of the best drivers of the golf ball in the world, if not the best the last year or two. But he's always had severe misses, especially up until the last 18 months. His misses had been violently offline, usually to the left, and somehow he's gotten that out of his game where he's worked with his instructor, Butch Harmon. He's kind of tweaked his equipment accordingly, and he's kind of gotten that pull hook out of his game. And now, I mean, it's almost just unfair how far he hits it and how straight he can hit it overall. He's no question the best driver in the golf ball and really the best golfer in the world. He's number one in the world rankings in the game today, and there's a new TaylorMade driver out that he's hitting it even better than before. The drive that he hit on Sunday on hole 12, he already had the tournament wrapped up, but it's funny because he stepped up to the tee. It's a 433-yard par 4, downwind, downhill. Yes, of course. But he got to the tee, and I knowing the course, I thought to myself for a second, I'm like, boy, downwind, downhill, he could probably get it close here. And, well, yeah, I was thinking close to the green, not necessarily close to the hole, because he knocked it within 4 inches from going in the hole for a hole-in-one.
Wow.
Absurd.
So, and you bring up a good point, Joel. I mean, DJ has been his own worst enemy over the last several years, and if he's figuring it out, is there a potential here for him to just run away with 2018?
Frankly, yes. It's scary because he's such a physical freak that if he can mentally click, which he's most certainly, we've talked about it before, he has most certainly been his own worst enemy, like you said, with some off-the-course issues, drug-related, other, extracurricular activities. He seems to have kind of gotten that, at least for now, in the rearview mirror. He seems to be dedicated, and not only is he driving it well, he putted phenomenally. We can't overlook that. He putted so well at Kapalua, and that's a course with such massive greens that you can hit a lot of greens, but you can walk off with lots of 2-putt pars and in some cases some 3-putt bogeys. He was making everything. I mean, he actually didn't – the funny thing about it, he didn't really make anything over 10 feet, but inside 10 feet he missed nothing. He basically made every putt he needed to make all week. I was reading he was in the TaylorMade lab in the quote-unquote off-season, the few weeks the guys get off, and he put a T line on his putter instead of – previously he has a mallet putter that never had an alignment aid. Now he put a line on it, and something like that can just click with a guy's brain, and he steps up over it, extremely confident and rolls everything in. And when he's driving as well as he is and putting this confidently, I mean, absolutely he could run away with this year.
So what's the key now in terms of scheduling? How much does he have to play? How much time does he need to take off before already we're starting talking about the Masters, I suppose, but, so what is the balance between rest and rust at this point?
A guy like him, he's very athletic. He has had a couple bizarre injuries, such as the one last year at the Masters where he supposedly, anyway, slipped down some wooden staircase. Bizarre. But he can play a lot, and I don't worry about him too much in terms of burnout. But he is taking the next 2 weeks off. He's not playing Sony this week, and he never plays the Career Builder. He'll come back for the Farmers at Torrey Pines the end of the month, and then we'll see him definitely at Pebble. He plays that every year. He plays with his father-in-law, Wayne Gretzky, in the Pro-Am. And then he usually plays Riviera, and then he'll certainly play the WGC in Mexico, and then the match play where he's actually defending champ. So actually, if you add that up, that'd be 5 tournaments before. He may play Shell Houston, too. He sometimes plays there. But I'm guessing 5 times before the Masters. So he's a wily tour vet at this day and age, so he knows not to play too much, but also enough to keep his game sharp. So, yeah, I think we'll see him 5 more times before the Masters in April.
Meanwhile, a guy that needs to probably take some time off is Brooks Koepka. I mean, a month ago, he was actually finishing strong, had a couple of top 5 finishes, but the last 2 times out, dead last because of this wrist injury. So at what point, when you're playing in Kapalua and you're bringing up the rear, do you say, okay, I'm going to stop now rather than finish the tournament and possibly do more damage?
Yeah, it's concerning to say the least. He's described the pain as it feels like someone is jabbing a knife in my hand.
Yeah.
Not good, especially with a guy coming off a career year last year, winner of the U.S. Open, a guy who I certainly had big expectations for again coming into this year. You know, there's one thing, you're in a winners-only event. It's a limited field last week. There's no cut. You finish, you still get a pretty good paycheck. You get world ranking points. It's important to finish. But another, it's like, what damage are you doing to yourself to potentially cost you additional tournaments or a good 2018 that feels like he just shows, well, I'm here, I'm going to finish, get the check and get out of here. But, boy, it seems like some time off is going to be in order for him because from what they've said, he doesn't know how he hurt it and he doesn't really know what to do, but it sounds like he just needs some time off. So I hope that's what he ends up doing.
And unfortunately, one of the big storylines, and of course social media fanning the fuel on this one, was Ricky Fowler, a guy already known for his fashion statements, playing a tournament in Hawaii, wearing a Hawaiian shirt. Now, I own a few Hawaiian shirts, Joel. I don't know if you do or not, but I know that certain Hawaiian shirts are made to be worn untucked. They button all the way down the front. They're not polo shirts. They're Hawaiian shirts. And so Ricky did what you do with some Hawaiian shirts. You wear them untucked, and people just lost their minds over this.
Yeah, it's, I guess if people are going to lose their minds over something, there's so much other stuff going on in the world nowadays that at least we can talk about somebody's shirts or, how it's tucked or not tucked.
Wow.
But yeah, it was a huge story. If anybody's going to do it and pull it off, maybe it's Ricky.
Yeah.
I would certainly say. I mean, he's obviously kind of at least skirted the boundaries of the PGA Tour dress code and what's acceptable and not acceptable. But what's funny is the PGA Tour Commissioner, Jay Monahan, actually came out and said that he was totally okay with it, and he actually encouraged that. It was within the boundaries, but it still had a collar.
Yeah.
But it was untucked, and actually Ricky played extremely well on Thursday, and maybe he should have done that the rest of the week because he still played well overall, but he did kind of simmer out a little bit the rest of the week. But yeah, if anybody's going to do it, it was Ricky.
You mentioned the Sony Open coming up. One of the stories coming into there is that Jim McKay, Bones, Phil Mickelson's longtime caddy, is going to carry the bag for Justin Thomas. Sounds like a one-and-done thing because Justin's caddy is a little bit on the mend here. Before we talk about Bones carrying the bag for Justin Thomas, what do you think of his work so far with NBC and the Golf Channel?
Yeah, I think he's outstanding. I think the one criticism I would have is I feel like he doesn't speak up enough, and I think that'll come with a little bit more time. He clearly has the knowledge. It seems like there's times where he cuts his sentences a little bit too short. He doesn't share, and not that I'm by any means saying that announcers should speak more because a lot of them speak too often as it is already, but he's a guy that has so much knowledge and experience on tour and knows so much about so many players and courses. I'd like for him to speak up a little more, but when he does speak, he's very good. He seems to be kind of a long-term fit there. So I like him there. But this week, it'd be interesting to see him on the bag for somebody else.
And it's just, like I said, it's just a temporary thing. He's not trying to get back into the caddying thing. I think you'll see him back doing the course reporting thing down the road. It just gives him a chance to carry a bag. Yeah,
exactly. I don't think Justin Thomas is changing caddies anytime soon, although with all the caddy changes last year with Rory and Phil, I mean, I guess you never know, but I would be surprised if, I do think this is just a one-time thing, like you said.
All right, the last time we talked, we were recapping Tiger Woods' pretty nice play at the World Challenge, and so let's look ahead to Tiger in 18, and Tiger, not surprisingly, is going to pick a very familiar spot to make his 2018 debut, a place where he's had a lot of success over the years.
Yeah, Farmers Insurance Open, Torrey Pines, a couple weeks from now. He's won that tournament 7 times, plus he won the U.S. Open there in 2008, which was his last major victory, 10 years ago now.
I'll believe.
The last 3 years have not gone so well for Tiger there. Last year he shot 76, 72, missed the cut. He also withdrew there in 2015. So it's been a little rough for him the last 3 years. The other time I think he finished like T78th or 80th or something. So it hasn't been friendly, but then again, Tiger's game hasn't been friendly to him for a couple of years now. So, but if he's going to come back to the PGA Tour, to an actual event with a cut, full field, and that actually is a stacked field, that's where to go because he knows it like the back of his hand. So It'll be interesting. I'm not sure I expect much more than flirting around the cut line, because that's the tournament where that course, those greens are so difficult. Reese Jones did a makeover of both the south and the north courses. The north course is a more recent makeover. Greens are so small and so firm. If your margin of error is incredibly thin, and he's going to need to be firing all cylinders just to make the cut, let alone to contend that week.
And I did read that he's also going to play at Riviera as well.
Yes, he is playing Riviera, which is actually a tournament he's never won. It's the tournament he's played the most ever without winning. He does have a couple of runner-ups there, but he's never won there before. And that's a tournament right in his hometown there, right in L.A., and it's a classic golf course. So I do, it's a tournament I expect him to kind of also flirt around the cut line with, but probably won't be taking home that first ever Genesis Open trophy this year anyway.
So do you think that after those two outings that he maybe reassesses and sees where he is, heading into major season?
Yeah, I think it is smart on his part to certainly limit how much he plays. I mean, last year he played Torrey, and then he hopped on his private jet and went over to Dubai and had back issues from the 11-hour flight over there just to collect an appearance fee. I think he's smarter than that this year. I would suspect, though, I would be surprised if we don't see him at Honda the week after Riviera. For him, it's back-to-back, which might be a little much, but Honda's a great event, lots of big names. Tiger's played it before. I expect we'll see him there. He's not eligible for the WGC the week after. But then a couple weeks later is Bay Hill, Arnold Palmer Invitational, so I would definitely think we'll see him there. And then after that, I would suspect it'd be 3 weeks later at Augusta. So probably only 2 more events at the most, other than Torrey Pines and Riviera, like we talked about.